December. Thank you all so much for joining the Rapid Scale monthly webinar series, our last one for 2016. Where did the year go? Super excited to have you all with us today. We have a great end of the year webinar for everybody, so thank you for taking time out of your busy days to join us. And let's do through a couple of housekeeping items just so everybody's aware, and we'll do a refresh on this halfway through, as we always do. My name is Mark Sodkowski. I am your presenter and the president of Rapid Scale. I also have on the line with me today Ms. Summer Fagone, our marketing manager, who will be fielding your questions and keeping an eye out for all of our technical ideas during the during the presentation. As always, this webinar is being recorded, and it will be on the partner portal within 24 hours. If you are registered for the webinar and on with us today, we'll also be sending you an email thanking you for your time and giving you a copy of the deck so that you don't have to go to the partner portal to get it. So thank you all so much for joining. It'll be a fairly quick webinar today, depending on questions that we have near the end. So please, if you have questions throughout, just go ahead and use the questions section within GoToWebinar, and those questions will be fielded by Summer along the way. And if she can't answer them, we'll go ahead and clean them up at the end. I'll keep an eye on them as well. And off we go. Cloud Desktop Deep Dive. We are super excited to talk to you all about one of our premier products here at Rapid Scale, and that's our virtual desktop or desktop as a service environment. As those of you who've worked with us for a while know, Rapid Scale has been a leader in this space since we started the organization. We were a little bit early to the game, knowing that desktop and virtualization and virtualizing desktops and desktop as a service were going to go ahead and be a really big player in the marketplace. We thought it would come more quickly. It's always been a big part of the enterprise for about the last decade. But the mid-market and SMB markets are now really starting to see desktop as a service, virtual desktop VDI, as a real big benefit to their business. And we're seeing the adoption rate of this particular product set go through the roof. So we're excited. We want to help you guys learn how to sell it, how to position it to your customers, and most importantly, how we can demonstrate that Rapid Scale is a leader in this space. So the first slide we're looking at here, guys, just a little bit about the virtualization of desktop, the marketplace itself. As you all know, Citrix is the 800-pound gorilla in this space, and they are one of the leaders out there, of course, being probably the biggest leader in the space, but they're seeing competition, and that competition is growing. And we all love competition because competition escalates and elevates the playing field for everybody. It allows the really big players to continue to invest in research and development and break down barriers and make their products better. And then you've always got those smaller players who are coming in and writing new code and new protocols that one day may topple the big guys like Citrix and VMware. So we keep an eye on this market, obviously, consistently, making sure that we're well positioned with you, our channel partners, to make sure that we can go out and sell the best products that your customers need based on their requirements. So we'll talk a little bit more about how Rapid Scale has differentiated itself in the last couple of years further into the presentation, but let's touch on a couple of the highlights here. We are expecting to see an 11% compounded annual growth rate in this marketplace through 2021. That is phenomenal. That is a lot of growth in this space, guys, and it's literally just growing exponentially. So it's an exciting time to be here. It's an exciting time to sell and service the product sets and the customers. VDI aids in achieving almost 90% savings in energy consumption. That was a quote that Summer and her team found that kind of put me on my heels. I did not realize it was that big, but when you start to think about it, you think about a traditional workstation and then moving to a virtual desktop, which can run on a smartphone, a tablet, a thin client, a zero client, a TV, a smart TV inside of a hotel room, for example, you start to think, yeah, that is definitely consuming less energy than running on a traditional desktop, a traditional workstation, or laptop. So exciting quote there. We continue to see, again, as I mentioned earlier, we're seeing more and more of the SMB customers starting to look at desktop as a service, as a viable solution in their business. So that's something we'll continue to keep an eye on, and we'll want to see how they are implementing and adding more services to this, to their particular environments, and how these benefit those particular customers. So we got our first question here. What's the percentage of SMBs that haven't adopted DOS that are considering in 2017? I honestly would think that percentage is very, very high. Again, the SMB marketplace trails the enterprise marketplace, guys, when it comes to technologies like virtual desktop, and there's a big reason for that. When you look at VDI and virtual desktop integration, when you go back 5 years ago, it was an extremely expensive solution. An SMB with 50, 100, 200 users couldn't afford to do it. Enterprises certainly could, because they've got very large IT budgets, capital expenditure budgets, and good IT staffs. I would say that we are probably at a lower than 10% penetration rate in the SMB space today. And for everyone on the call at RapidScale, everybody's got their own definitions of SMB, mid-market, and enterprise. So at RapidScale, we really consider the SMB as 100 users and down. You know, if you look at Verizon, Verizon says 5,000 users and down, just to give you an idea of how big that gap is. But 100 users and down, and there are a lot of reasons we categorize SMB like that. But the top ones are certainly about IT support, internal and external, IT budgets, right? What can they spend on IT? And knowledge of IT to leverage and make their businesses better. So we put that bar at 100. Once we get over 100 users, we consider that mid-market. That goes 100 to 1,000. That mid-market customer typically has got some IT staff on site who work for them directly, but they're still outsourcing a lot of their IT. And then we consider small enterprise, you know, 1,000 to 2,000, and then 2,000 and up is really, in our world, that's kind of an enterprise play. And when you get to 2,000 employees, very rarely are you dealing with a company that does not have an IT team. And for those of you who've been on our webinars before, or who have been at the channel shows and seen us present on different products and topics, a big part about how we're successful here at RapidScale is supplemental IT to that mid-market, small enterprise, and SMB customer. When you get into the IT enterprise side of IT, you know, 2,000, 5,000 users, now we're looking at very specific workloads that they want to move to the cloud. They're typically in a do-it-yourself model. They're just taking advantages of other platforms or other environments that they can run their applications on. And we don't have any slides on that today, but it's certainly something that all of our channel managers would love to talk to you about. So if you don't know who your channel manager is, feel free to shoot an email to Summer or myself, and make sure you tell us where you're located in these lovely United States or globally, and we will get you connected up with the right channel manager. So a couple other stats here. 70% of mobile professionals will conduct work on personal smart devices by 2018. Every person on this call is a technology or a technologist, and I'm sure all of us are already conducting some level of work on a smart device. So that number isn't surprising at all. The next one might take you and get you thinking, though, is that desktop virtualization accelerates the deployment time of applications by up to 71%. That's a real number, guys. That is a big number that you can really sit down and talk with customers about. And again, selling technology is crucial to know who your audience is, right? If you're not going to really wow a CEO or a CFO by telling them application deployment can increase by 71% faster. But you will, when you're talking to a CIO or a CTO or a director of IT, those are the kind of statistics those guys like to hear. So let's continue moving along here. I took a little too much time on that slide. Next one is, fighting me a little bit. So why virtual desktops? Why are people looking to go into the virtual desktop arena, and why today more so than 3 years ago or 5 years ago or 8 years ago when RapidScale started? Well, one of the driving factors, as you all know, is price, right? We've now, because the competition has heated up in the marketplace as much as it has, those price points have really been driven down to allow that customer who's got 50, 40 users, 30 users to actually invest in this technology. And it's not just the monthly recurring side of that price model, but it's also the technology and where it's gone itself. What you really have to look at is, if you got into dealing with desktop as a service 5 years ago, we were on much older versions of the software from the manufacturers like VMware and Citrix. And I'm trying to think of the other one. It's slipped my mind. But the technology itself was kind of clinky, if you will. If you didn't have that expert on staff, if you didn't have somebody inside of your organization who was a certified Citrix or VMware engineer, your experience wasn't that great. And that's really was a slow driver. It was really something that made driving to desktop as a service slower. The technology was not anywhere to where it is today. So price contributes to it. Technology certainly contributes to it. And there's another big factor out there that contributes to it, and that's bandwidth. A lot of you on the call today are partners who sell voice and data services as well. And I don't need to share with you what's happened in the bandwidth world, right? Over the last 5 years, we've seen the cost of bandwidth go through the floor. We've seen the pipes get huge. And now you can truly afford, a 300 by 300 pipe at your office for a couple of grand a month. If you look back on that, even 4 years ago, 5 years ago, the price was probably 2 or 3x of what it is today. And if we're running our applications inside of the cloud, inside of a managed services data center, you've got to be able to connect to it. So application delivery and latency were big distractors to desktop as a service 5 years ago. Today, they've almost been eliminated. And I'll throw another statement out there for you guys, and we'll do a little contest. And if somebody wants to go ahead and throw up either they can throw it in a chat or a question, somewhere will let me know who gives us the right answer first. Another technology has really come on to the forefront in the last 5 years that accelerates application delivery over standard networks, standard data connections. Whoever gives us that answer first will get you a little gift card prize. So technologies keep changing, right? And they keep allowing us, hey, that was fast. Who did that? Yes, the right answer, SD-WAN. And that came over to us from, I don't know why I can't see this. Sorry about that. Whoever got us the SD-WAN first, wow, and boy, you guys loaded that up quick. Summer will make sure we get a gift card out to the first answer of that. So SD-WAN came along, guys, and SD-WAN reshaped how we look at our networks, right? And that allowed us to really accelerate desktop as a service being delivered to customers all over the country. So it's exciting. So here's another question that popped up. What are the costs of a company who are deploying apps on 100 desktops versus the cost of RapidScale solution, which would be $5,000 per month or more? Which would be $5,000 per month or more. Okay, I'm going to hold off on that question, and I will come back to it when we get into our pricing, because I think it'll kind of answer itself. So let's talk some driving reasons why people are going to desktop as a service, why your customers are looking at it. So right out of the gate, one of the biggest drivers today, guys, remote workers, right? More and more businesses today are looking at how do we how can we best serve our employees and our customers at the same time in the most cost-effective way? And whereas, 20 years ago when I got into business, everybody showed up at an office every day at 8 o'clock in the morning, and everybody stayed there every day till 5 and clocked out and went home. Times have changed, right? The society has changed, and now we have a lot of people who want flexible work schedules and telecommuting and working from home, and we've got a lot of customers who do this today. So that's one of the biggest drivers inside of a technology like desktop as a service. And when you really start to look at that and you start to see, okay, why would I do this as a business owner? Why would I allow somebody to work from home, right? Am I losing productivity? Am I not going to be able to manage them as tightly as I would be able to manage them if they were in the office? Am I losing collaboration, et cetera? Well, technology has answered a lot of those things, right? Technology today, I can see when somebody's logged into a session and if they're working or not. So as far as are they working, I know they are they not? How hard are they working? Well, again, a lot of people go into offices and don't work hard either, right? So that's probably something that the business owner has to figure out. But if you start to think about employee satisfaction, right, there are a lot of CEOs out there who are thinking employee satisfaction. And being allowed to work from home is a great way to have employee satisfaction, especially if if that workload is something that can be done from home. All types of folks on this call are probably working from home 1 day a week, if not more, right? Or maybe you home office every day out of the week. You've got all the tools of the trade you need. You have your laptop, you have your printer, you have your phone, probably an IP phone, right? A VoIP phone of some sort. You now have Skype, or you have any type of video chatting. You've got file sharing in the cloud. You've got everything that you would need to have in sitting at an office, and you can work out of your house. So as the owner of a company, employee satisfaction, that's a great, right? I can retain great people and I can attract great people because maybe that is a value to them in their life, is to work from home. But now let's think about it. If I've got 2,000 employees and I've got to house them, meaning I have got to have office space for 2,000 employees around the country, and let's just say I'm headquartered in New York City or in San Francisco, and the majority of my employees are there, right? I've got 1,000 employees in either of those locations and then 1,000 around the country in alternative offices. My cost of housing my employees is exceedingly high, especially in those two cities. If I could say, instead of needing, a 40,000 square foot business, I'm going to let 500 of them or 600 of them work from home because their jobs are conducive to working out of a home office, I could literally cut down my monthly real estate spend on my corporate my corporate headquarters, and we're probably talking tens of thousands of dollars. So really, you have to think about what is driving this desktop as a service adoption, and that's a big part of it. We have a lot of customers, and we'll talk about a case study later, but we've got a customer out here in Southern California who does very high-end programming and editing, and it's very hard for him to find great talent in what he does. And what he decided to do was set it up so that he could give his folks virtual desktops that met all the compliancy and security requirements of his customers, and made sure they had a 100 meg up and down connection at home, and now he's got them working all over the country. So for him, it was a way to attract the best talent and not have to fly him or relocate him out to California. Security is a big concern for everybody today. You guys are hearing more and more about it, and you will continue to hear more and more about cybersecurity, ransomware, all of those wonderful things that keep us up at night, especially CTOs and CSOs, Chief Security Officers of companies. Well, virtual desktops add a layer of security to a customer's environment. It makes it very easy to deploy a new employee, meaning to set up a new employee, it takes a matter of minutes versus in the old days where it could take a day or two. And then on the flip side of that, it's just as easy to turn that employee off today, right? Lock them out of everything that they had access to. If you set up your security properly, or If your requirements are to set up security that no corporate data can ever be downloaded onto a USB drive or a hard drive of a laptop or a hard drive of a desktop, it all has to be contained and maintained within the virtual desktop environment and the local LAN infrastructure environment or VLAN infrastructure environment within the cloud. You now have a way to control that security, that data and the access to that data. So security is a huge driver in moving to the desktop as a service, Okay, let's continue on. I'm running long here. And I don't know why, but my mouse doesn't want to move, guys, so I apologize. Okay, so rapid scale desktop as a service. What do we do and why do we do it, and when do your customers look to want to go forward with a solution like this? So we call our desktop as a service Cloud Desktop, as most of you know. When are customers looking to do this? When they've got to do any type of a large upgrade to their current environment, right? We've got several customers who have, thousands of users, and the driving factor for them when they were moving to desktop as a service was a refresh of a third or half of those traditional workstations. They realized that if they refresh to a different device, such as a thin client, they could extend the life of that device and lower the cost of that device and take advantage of security and all the other pieces of the puzzle we talked about before. So that's a great time when folks are looking to do this. We're also seeing more and more customers looking at a BYOD model, bring your own device model, and this is being driven a lot by the new employee workforce that's coming out of college, right? When you hired somebody 20 years ago, and if you've worked with me for a while, you've heard this story 100 times. When you hired somebody in the workforce 20 years ago, you had to give them a device, a laptop or a desktop when they came to work for you, and it was corporate property. And to be fair, a lot of people 20, 25 years ago didn't have a laptop, right? And they maybe had a desktop at home. So the only way they were going to work for you is if you provided them with something. That's just not the case today, guys. The kids who graduate college today typically have 3 smart devices. They have a smartphone, they have a tablet or an iPad, and they have a laptop. And 3 is kind of the minimum now. They're graduating with these devices. And to be fair, they do not want to go and get a Dell Inspiron laptop from their new corporate provider. They'd much rather work off of the MacBook Air that was given to them from their parents when they started school. And why not allow them to do that? There's a lot of benefits on that, and desktop as a service is an avenue to doing that allows the corporation to maintain security protocols and requirements, and to be very candid, lower their cost of bringing a new employee on. So it's a real big driving factor today. And then the larger we get, we see more and more pressure on the IT teams. So desktop as a service from a technical standpoint really allows the IT teams to have a single pane of glass to manage all of their users, right? So, traditionally, if we had a upgrade of an OS, right, we were going to upgrade our OS from Windows 7 to Windows 2010. We had to go touch we had to touch every machine to do that, to do it and to do it right and to make sure it was done properly. That's how we had to do it. Not such a big deal if you're doing 10 machines, but ask that 10-user business how much their MSP charges them to do that, and they'll tell you it's not free. But now imagine doing 500 or 5,000 of those machines. It becomes a huge project that takes months and months and months to do right. When you move to a desktop as a service model, you actually log everybody out, log them all back in, and everybody's now running off of the Windows 10 desktop environment, which is just, those are the kind of things that make your IT managers and directors extremely happy. And it makes your C-level suite really happy too, because that's a way of impacting their cost of labor, their IT labor, right? What can we automate? What can we do more efficiently as an organization that will save us time and money? That's a big factor for every single customer that we deal with. If it's not, you've got a great customer, because they like to spend money and they're not worried about their costs. That's a wonderful place to be. We had a lot of customers like that back in 2006. A lot of people in the mortgage industry who didn't care about cost. All they cared about was growth, growth, growth. As all of us know on the call, 2008, that changed very rapidly, pun intended. So when we look at desktop as a service and we look at the managed offering from ourselves, oops, sorry, that's the next slide, guys. So we look at our standard offering with desktop as a service. You know, what's it bring? An enterprise virtual desktop, low latency application delivery. Obviously, you've got a very redundant environment that our data centers live in. So as those of you who have gone deep with us in the past with regards to our infrastructure and our environment, we're happy to do that with our solution engineering team with you and our channel managers. They can all speak to this, but we certainly have a extremely redundant and resilient environment that we're running all of our solutions on, not just our desktop as a service solution. But we're also seeing, you know, advanced security compliancy is a big reason to go to desktop as a service. You know, tier 3 data centers, obviously, everybody, hopefully everybody you're dealing with in this space, all of our competition, we're all running inside of tier 3, tier 4 data centers. If not, then be cautious about bringing your customers on board, right? You want to make sure that if we move everything to the cloud, to an as-a-service model, it's real important that we keep our side of that uptime up and running. So what makes RapidScale different? Well, as most of you who've worked with us in the past know, we are a managed cloud shop. It is what we do. It's what we do very, very well. It's what has differentiated us from the really big guys, the really big public cloud companies. And we've been doing the managed from the get-go. It was a couple of years ago that we decided to break this out and make it distinctive for our customers to understand. And to be honest, the reason we did that was we had a lot of you, our sales partners, out selling our services, and we were being shopped against the likes of an Amazon or a Rackspace, and our pricing was higher. And you know, we would say, how are we so much higher? Well, we were looking at, we had everything bundled in. We did all this management that we now have broken out. We did this all inclusive of our old monthly recurring charges. And what we found was when we stripped this out and said, hey, if you want to do it yourself public cloud network, we can give you that. And then we started winning a lot more business with those customers because our price points were as competitive as the big guys, right? Now what we've seen happen in the last 2.5 years is more and more customers have said, hold on a minute. You know, we moved our email workload to you, RapidScale, and you do a phenomenal job with that, right? We don't have any downtime. We get our, you know, you manage it for us. You manage our end users in our email environment. We don't have to worry about setting up or tearing down any users anymore. We don't have to worry about I can't find this email. I need to reset my password. Boy, you took off a bunch of what IT professionals see as mundane and boring break-fix work. And you've done a great job with it. Well, what other workloads can I look to moving to you, and can you do that in that same managed style? And really, that's where we have blown up, guys, and where we've done extremely well over the last 2 or 3 years is a fully managed offering. So what does that mean? What's a managed cloud offering versus an unmanaged cloud offering? And before we get there, I'm going to throw one caveat in. We can do full turnkey 100% management, which we do for a lot of customers, and then we can do more of a hybrid management, which we do for the majority of our customers. And of course, as I mentioned, we have the do-it-yourself model just like Amazon and Azure, where the customers do everything and they're just using our environments, and that's typically because of our performance metrics. And again, not subject for us to talk about today, but if you're interested in our technology and how we do it and what differentiates us from an architecture standpoint, please reach out to your channel manager or reach out to one of our solution engineers and set up a 15, 30-minute, 1-hour webinar, or we'll come see you. We can grab lunch, breakfast, whatever, and we can really deep dive into that infrastructure for you. So A fully managed environment for us is what you're looking at here, guys. It means that we're managing all of the infrastructure, right? So we're doing all of the health of the infrastructure, monitoring, managing, patching, updating, everything that runs on there, all their applications that are running on our infrastructure, we are in charge of. We are managing to the application layer, meaning, and this is a big differentiator for us compared with a lot of our competition, meaning if a customer's application isn't performing the way it's supposed to perform, we don't step back, throw our hands up and say, oh, your servers are working great, your environment's working great, not our problem. We'll actually engage with that customer, with their original equipment, their OEM, their original equipment manufacturer, original software manufacturer, and we'll work with them to get that software performing the way it's supposed to. Now, if it's an easy little fix and, you know, we put a guy on a phone for 15 minutes and we take care of it, typically that's not something we charge for. If it's a deeper engagement, then yes, I just want to make sure I'm clear here. You know, if somebody has a big problem and they get our engineers on the phone for 7 hours to troubleshoot with the software manufacturer, that is a professional services engagement because it's real time of an engineer. And if it's found that it's an issue within the application and not rapid scale, then we do charge for those things. But I'll tell you what, we've never had a customer complain about it. All we've ever had customers do is say, thank you so much for not leaving us in the lurch and getting on the phone with us and troubleshooting with us with our application manufacturer. Dedicated solution engineering, 24/7/365, full project management. As I mentioned, automatic system updates, 100% uptime, SLA, that's super important, big differentiator for us. In this full turnkey management, we'll also do all of their end user management, meaning we become the help desk for their IT for that customer or an extension of their help desk, depending on how they want to do it. So if they want to add, remove users, if they need to do, if they want us to manage their existing workstations, we can put an agent on those workstations, and we can fully manage those workstations as well as the virtual desktops for them as well. So big differentiation. You know, there's a couple of people in the space that do it like us, but we've been doing it this way for quite a while, and we're super excited about it because we see more and more customers coming our way based on their business needs, moving them to a more managed environment. So huge differentiations for us, guys. Okay, we are coming halfway through here. We're going to get into some deep dive with technology, but just as a quick reminder on our housekeeping, everybody on the webinar today, you will be getting an email with this deck, so you don't need to worry about asking for it. This presentation is being recorded and will be up in the partner portal within 24 hours. And all of the webinars that we've done for the last 2 or 3 years that we've recorded are up there as well. So if you've got some free time to kill on a Thursday afternoon or a Sunday morning and your football team isn't on, go over to the partner portal and watch some of our past webinars. So Citrix. I mentioned that name a couple of times. We are a big Citrix partner. We're a big Citrix CSP. We have been since the start. Citrix is by far and away one of the, if not the leader in the space. As you can see by this design on technology, how does XenApp, XenDesktop work? What do those components do? Citrix is a broker, guys. So what Citrix does is allows your customer to see all of their applications in a single pane of glass, fully integrated, just as if they were working together inside of a desktop sitting on their desk with all the applications loaded natively, right? It's the same thing, and this is what Citrix has been doing for 20 plus years. So they're really, really good at it. We picked Citrix a long time ago because of a long-standing relationship with them, having expertise with them within our executive IT sector of our company, and a bunch of our engineers were already Citrix certified engineers. And we've worked with Citrix. We're one of the top 10 CSPs, and we work with them on a daily basis. We work with them quarterly as well as any large customer would do with their supplier, right? Citrix is a supplier for us. Excuse me. And we see this continuing. We don't see this relationship really going elsewhere in the near future. However, with that said, Citrix isn't the only provider that we will deploy. Again, for us, it's like for you. We're looking for what the best solution is for your customer. And that solution, there's always a price tag on it. Let's not act like there's not. But the solution is really around pain points that your customer is experiencing today and objectives that they're trying to achieve that IT can help them achieve more efficiently, more effectively, more cost effectively, etc. So we may choose to do Zen App, Zen Desktop for a customer, or we may choose to do a VMware deployment or a traditional Windows RDP deployment. It really comes down to what that customer is looking for, what are their challenges, what are they trying to achieve, what are the business drivers, and then we're going to deploy the best solution for them. So we're looking here with regards to, this is a Forrester slide, which I really love. So there's Citrix, guys, right? They're the leader. They're the furthest one. They're the strongest one in the group. But right next to them is VMware. VMware's been on a tear. We like VMware for very specific customers. It works really well depending on what they're trying to deliver. It's a great protocol. But again, Citrix is probably in 90% of our deployments. And that's because Citrix is in our opinion, is more advanced as far as interdependencies and integrations and easy workflow for your end user, right? One of the keys to this being successful is your end user getting an experience similar to if they're sitting down at their laptop or their desktop. They want it to work the same. They don't want to do a lot of different things. And we understand that, and that's why we've been working with Citrix for a long time. We think they do that really well. So a couple other pieces. Citrix works on top of multiple hypervisors. We're a VMware shop, just so you guys know. They've really come a far way with rich 3D graphics and multiple 4K monitor supports, and more sophisticated video streaming, etc. We recently won a big deal where one of the requirements was to be able to stream Skype, right? They wanted Skype to stream through the virtual desktop. Our team, and by the way, they'd gone through like 7 vendors and nobody could get it done. Our engineering team is rock. They are rock solid. It took them, 2 days to get the thing to work right. And of course, Citrix was there to help us if we needed it, right? Because we are a large Citrix partner. So it's exciting time for us, exciting time for them. And we're going to show you guys a quick little video here, I think. Uh-oh. Thought we were going to show you a video. Let me see if I can go back. Okay, we're going to show you a quick video, and hopefully the audio will play right here for me. Let's see. Please launch. Uh-oh. I have a feeling this is going to happen. Hold on. I'm not done yet. Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry about this. I had a feeling technically I'd need to be able to do this. Let's end the show real quick. So I have it teed up. And here we go.
Leverages these new capabilities as we dare to compare. The most obvious thing is that applications delivered with Citrix Zen App populates the Windows 10 Start menu on our endpoint. In fact, a Windows 10 user accessing a Zen App delivered application can simply say, "Hey Cortana, open PowerPoint."
Here's PowerPoint 2016.
And with Zen App's instantaneous login capability, PowerPoint launches as fast as a local application. Horizon lacks this basic integration with Windows 10, forcing users to spend time opening an application just so the user can start another application. And then the user must wait while the new Horizon session is created, profiles load, login scripts run, and policies are applied. Now ask yourself this: how important is printing to you and your users? Both solutions will print, but Citrix Zen incorporates deduplication and compression. Not only will it send less data across the network plane, which is important for users who are remote or in a branch office, but it also means print jobs start and complete faster, even up to 5 times faster than VMware Horizon. Windows 10 includes application snapping capabilities, helping users to easily arrange applications side by side. This is one of those features where once you use it once, you will constantly use. Citrix NAP treats its application like any local Windows 10 application, allowing itself to be snapped to a side of the screen. Horizon, not so much. If a user is fond of this Windows 10 feature like I am, losing this capability will dramatically hurt the user experience. And finally, let's look at saving a file to a USB drive. With Citrix NAP, the experience is exactly like that of a native Windows 10 PC. You insert the USB stick into your PC and NAP automatically recognizes it. VMware Horizon, on the other hand, doesn't understand the user intentions. Although VMware Horizon does support USB drives, the user experience is radically different than what every user is accustomed to and expecting. A Horizon user must manually configure the advanced Horizon client settings. And once the user completes the tedious USB connection process, the time it takes to actually load the file into the user session is longer than XenApp because Citrix NAP incorporates different network and file transfer optimizations to better compress the data stream. This is critical as the user might be loading a file from their endpoint to their XenApp session located thousands of miles away. This focus on the user experience allows Citrix XenApp to provide an experience mimicking that of a traditional Windows 10 PC, but also doing it in less than half the time of a VMware Horizon user.
All right. So glad we could show you guys that, and sorry that it was a tad bit challenging for me to do. Let me get us back to our presentation. Give me 1 second. And let's go back up. Okay. Oops. Uh-oh. Can everybody see this okay? I'm hoping so. I'm just going to, sorry guys, I apologize. My bad, I hit the wrong button. Give me 1 second. Sincerely apologize. We'll be right back. Okay. And here we go. So we are at the next slide. There we go. Okay. So where's another differentiation for RapidScale? Again, we're a global application platform, folks. That means that we have data centers located not only here in the United States, but internationally. So we deployed in Hong Kong early this year, way earlier this year, and we are just about finished up in Amsterdam. I think we're going to be finishing that one up literally this week. So Amsterdam will be online and live here in 2017. And then Montreal, Quebec is coming online in 2017 as well. And the reason that we built out into these points of presence around the globe was really due to customer requests. Customers asked us to come out there and go deliver services to them from our platforms all over the world. And of course, you can imagine in Hong Kong, we have a customer who has a whole lot of desktop as a service users, and we were having some challenges with latency coming back from Sterling, Virginia, and they literally have hundreds and hundreds of users out there, so we went ahead and built out a point of presence in Hong Kong. It's in an Equinix data center out there, I'm pretty sure. So we were able to serve that client, and by the way, we have lots and lots of space available in Hong Kong. So if you guys have customers who are international, let us know. Talk to your channel managers, talk to your sales engineers. I've got some screaming deals in 2017 in Hong Kong. We need to fill up some of those services out there. So FYI. So we are SSD all NetApp storage, guys. Why is that important in desktop as a service? Because it's the speed, it's your IOPS. It allows us to deliver that application more quickly. It allows it to have a better end-user customer experience. Also, we're experts in TCP/IP protocol. That's your VMware stack, guys. We have several engineers who are certified in this technology and delivering desktop as a service from the VMware protocol. ICA HDX, that's our protocols for Citrix. And as you all know, we are a leader with Citrix, have been for a long time, and don't expect not to be in the near and far from now future. And then RDP, you know, why? So I had a question the other day from a sales partner. Why would somebody go with Citrix over RDP, right? If they're happy with RDP, why would they make the transition? Great question. It really was. And we have plenty of customers who we move over from their current environment where they're doing RDP access themselves, and they move it to us for the idea of us managing it for them. Same reason that they would move to Citrix with us. They came over to say, hey, we want you to manage RDP. RDP can work for a lot of customers with basic applications. It's not a bad protocol, and it's less expensive. So again, we will look at doing what is right for your client depending on their needs. Now, I can tell you we've had a lot of clients who were running RDP and wanted to go with RDP, and we said, let us go to Citrix. And they said, why? And we said, it's a better performance, and you will be able to see it, and your employees will experience it. And we moved them to Citrix, and they are blown away. They are unbelievably happy with the experience that their end users are getting. And I think that video showed you the amount of integration and interdependencies that Citrix and Microsoft have worked on together to give the end user experience just as if they were running natively on a desktop with local clients added onto that desktop. So the key here is we can do it all, and including Mac application virtualizations. As a lot of you know, we have been in this space for a long time too. Certainly has not caught on anything like Citrix and VMware. Mac applications are all, not all, but they're typically tied around design, and the only people who want to virtualize Macs are Mac users, and again, they're engineers and those types of folks. And it's an expensive protocol, guys. It's expensive to do, and the price points just haven't come to a point where they say, okay, we're ready and we're willing to make a change in doing this. And I'll give Apple a little bit of credit too, right? Apple has a pretty darn good OS system that doesn't need a whole lot of support from outside engineering once it's running. So a lot of the benefits that we get with running Citrix is you know, getting the workload off of the IT guys who are keeping those machines up and going. Apple is pretty darn good at that. We have application performance monitoring, of course. We have application support, as I described earlier. Virtual GPUs for advanced application delivery, graphics, etc. We've got the NVIDIA cards. We've got the VMware solution for that as well. Again, it's about being experts in this space. That's something that set us apart from the get-go, and it's something that we will continue to work on to put ourselves ahead of the curve with regards to delivering the best protocols and the best solutions for your customers based on what they need. One more good point on here, 97% of business applications are virtualizable within the virtual desktops. And we expect that number to just keep creeping up as old applications begin to zero out and you know, they go away. You don't have any coders today writing stuff for Unix, right? They're writing stuff to run on an iPad or to run on the Apple Store or to run somewhere in an app environment. So we think that number will continue to creep up as time goes by. Next slide. Just keeps finding me here. So who's the sweet spot? And guys, this just isn't the sweet spot for rapid scale. It's the sweet spot for the industry. There was a question that came in earlier, and somebody caught me typing it back, and thank you for letting me know you could hear me typing. I apologize about that. They said, what's your minimum, Mark? What's your floor? We really want to say don't go under 20, guys. Under 20 is a challenging marketplace in its own right. But there's exceptions to that all the time. If they've got real business needs, they've got an IT budget, and they're looking at desktop as a service, let's talk to them. Let us go with them. Let's get us on the phone, engage us. Let us help you qualify them. That one customer I talked about who does the video editing for a very large production shop, they have 9 employees, and they spend just south of $10,000 a month with us. That's a great business. I would never want to walk away from that. The ones we don't want are the, the 5-person business who's got basic applications and doesn't have an IT staff, doesn't have a budget, and, really, just maybe they want it because they think it's going to help them. Those are the tough customers that are hard to keep happy, to be very candid with you. But bring it to us. We'll look at it for you for sure. So we're saying here 50 to 1,000 users is a sweet spot. You push that up to 2,000 pretty easily. But once you get over 1,000 users, as I mentioned, you get more IT staff involved, internal IT. And those internal IT folks can be challenging, right? They do not want to give up the keys to the kingdom. When you're under 1,000, you've got a tremendous amount of pressure from the C-suite to maximize profitability, and a lot of times that means minimizing cost around IT. So if we can move a workload to the cloud and we can manage it in the cloud and it's less expensive, those customers are going to make that choice to do that. The vertical sectors for us, healthcare is huge, as you all probably know already. HIPAA just keeps getting tougher and tougher on people. $5 million fine levied this year to a HIPAA violation, and that really that was an earthquake nationwide. It shook up a lot of people. Just so you guys know, that person had violated a few times before, and that's part of the reason why they made an example of them. But think about that doctor's office, that dentist's office. They've got a practice of 10 doctors, 25 people on staff to support them. And, now they've got to be able to say they are fully HIPAA compliant around their IT, and that's tough, right? That's a great opportunity for us. So think about those. Manufacturing's just been huge for us. That's the customer that took us to Hong Kong, just so you know. And manufacturing continues to be great. We got a really big win with a manufacturing company up in the Northeast about a month and a half ago. And they continue to look for more automation, and let's see how we can make our workers work better. And we've got customers who do some really unique applications that are latency impactful, that we deliver to them on a high level of delivery, and that experience is great, and that's why they stick with us. When is the time when they're looking at BYOD? They have remote employees. They've got a lot of traveling employees. Limited IT resources is really a key there. And then we've got some qualifying questions for you. As you all know, on the partner portal, we've got all of the training documents available for you. Selling Cloud 101's got something like 50 or 60 qualifying questions based on products and services. So if you've never seen it, take a look at that. And you definitely want to get to know the training material that's available for you. I'm going to ask Summer to 1 second. Summer, if you don't mind, could one of you guys grab Dwayne and have him take a look at the technical questions that have come up on the webinar, and let's start getting those answered before we end here, because I think I'm going to run out of time. Thanks.
Yep. Can do.
Cloud Desktop Packages. So basic. Really, this is what we call a knowledge worker, guys. 1 CPU, 2 gigs of RAM starts at $35 a month. That is very inexpensive, and it's something that we see a lot of customers taking advantage of. So think about a call center. Think about a insurance brokerage. Think about anything that just has a real basic Microsoft Office stack, email, and then 1 or 2 business line apps, right? And by the way, we're seeing more and more of those business apps moving to the cloud, where people are accessing them from the cloud. The virtual desktop can be that single pane of glass to allow them to go get that application in the cloud and bring it back down and work with it on an iPad, just as if they were working at their physical desktop at the office, fully integrated into Microsoft Office, and doing all the different pieces of the puzzle as they need to. Then we got 2 CPU, 4 gigs of RAM, very slight increase. This is really what we sell the most of, guys. $40 a user a month. This is your real business users, right? We've got multiple business applications running. These are the guys who like to open 37 Excel sheets. These are the guys who want to be able to run everything as if it were just identical to a laptop, right? And they want the compute power, and they want the speed that they would have on their laptop. The question always comes up right around now is, well, 2 CPU, 4 gigs of RAM, Mark, my my laptop's running 4 CPUs and I've got 8 gigs of RAM, right? It's going to be half with performance. Not the case, guys. It's actually, it kind of fools people, but the technology behind delivering the virtual desktop images, it's really screenshots that are going back and forth. The computing's happening on the back end, and the performance on a 2 CPU, 4 gig of RAM is more than enough to handle 95% of the people out there. But if we're in that last 5 percentile, now you're looking at your 4 CPU, 8 gig of RAM desktops. These are the power users. These are the big guys. These are super heavy graphics, CAD designs, etc., video editing. I mentioned that customer a couple of times. We sell a fair amount of premium desktops, and differentiator for Rapid Scale, catch this one, we can mix and match. A lot of our competition doesn't do that. So I have customers where they've got 15 power users, they've got 50 business users, and they've got 250, I'm just making the numbers up, guys. They have 250 basic users, right? That's the call center guys, the basic admin folks. And then think about the middle of the market, right? Those are the executives, those are the people who are working with more applications. They need more speed, more compute power. And then you've got your design folks, right, for a typical business. So whatever size they need, we can fulfill that in their procurement cycle. All right, so we've got to get, I love this case study because it touches on so many different things. And we will be wrapping it up with this, so thank you guys all for being on the call and sticking through it. I'm seeing people drop off, so I'm going to talk very quickly. So it's a large hospice. It's out of Florida. What were their challenges? And something didn't catch here. Insufficient security was one of them. They violated with HIPAA. They failed an audit. They didn't violate, I'm sorry, they failed an audit. And they had a very lean IT staff, and they didn't know how to get through that HIPAA audit. And their technology was out of date. They needed to do a refresh, so they were looking at that multiple $100,000 capital expenditure coming up for them that year. And they didn't have a lot of the systems they were looking for in the healthcare space. They've been in business a long time, and they were really worried about, hey, we don't have any systems because we don't refresh like we should. And now that we're looking to refresh, we want to be in the kind of leading the technology curve. This particular hospice also has a number of traveling nurses who are driving to all of these people's residences and taking care of them there. And that was another big HIPAA concern and possible violation, because they were bringing that patient record information with them in their cars, and they were not keeping it as secure as they should. So we presented a virtual desktop environment. That's actually a fully managed everything environment. We do all of it for them, including their help desk. We put on the virtual desktop and the patient management system onto the laptops via the virtual desktop, so no data was being held anywhere but inside of the virtual desktop. And it allowed those traveling nurses to get out there and see their customers, update the patient's medical records while they were on site, and then log out of the virtual desktop, drop the iPad inside of the front seat of the car, and go on to the next one. So they got a lot of benefits and advantages out of this, including more productivity from their workforce. So super exciting. With that, we're at 9:59. Hopefully we've got all the questions answered. Summer, how are we doing on those questions?
We did get them all answered for now. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, hey, everybody, thank you so much for joining the last webinar of 2016 for Rapid Scale. From our family to you and all of your families, we're wishing you a happy holidays, a Merry Christmas, a very happy and safe New Year. We're looking forward to a huge 2017 and being very successful with all of you. And we will be kicking off our series again, first Wednesday in January. I hope to see you guys again. Have a great day. Have a great rest of your week, and have a good month. Thank you again for joining. Bye-bye.